just guide me where brains go to broadcast.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take complex stuff and, well, try to make it make sense. Today, we're tackling something that can feel pretty daunting, the research proposal. But honestly, we think we can make it feel less like a chore and maybe even empowering.
That's the goal.
Yeah, so our map for this journey is this document, Steps in Developing a Research Proposal.pdf. It's really good. Lays out all that early work you need for a solid paper.
The foundation.
Exactly. So our mission today, unpack those first critical steps, picking a topic, narrowing it down, getting to that full proposal. We want you, listening right now, to feel like you've got a handle on building that strong base for whatever research you take on. Okay, let's get into it.
Absolutely. And, it's interesting. People see research paper and groan, right?
Totally.
But these initial steps, they're actually like a crash course in thinking clearly and managing a project. We're going to pull out some stuff from this guide that's maybe a bit surprising, things that go beyond just writing class, giving you that shortcut, kind of, so you're clued in without drowning in info.
Okay, so first up, choosing your topic. The guide calls it a major commitment. Why is it such a big deal? I mean, beyond just checking a box for an assignment, what's really going on there?
That's a great question. Because, look, it's easy to just pick something, but here's the thing people miss. You're going to live with this topic for weeks, maybe months. So many potentially great projects just fizzle out. Not because the idea was bad, but because the person picked something they felt they should do, Not something they were actually curious about. That initial spark, that genuine interest, that's your fuel. That's what gets you through the long haul.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, say you have a few ideas sparking. The guide gives these preliminary questions to ask yourself. Stuff like, can you find enough information? Is there room for your original ideas? Is it too big, too small? Can you tweak it? Which of those do you think people stick over the most? The one that causes the most pain later?
Oh, easily the too broad or too narrow one. People grab onto something huge thinking more is better, something tiny thinking it'll be easy. They don't really picture the actual scope. And forgetting to ask, can I bring something original? That's another pitfall. You don't want to just rehash what everyone already knows.
Right.
Asking those questions up front saves you so much time and, honestly, frustration down the line.
Okay, so the gravity of topic choice is clear. But how do you even start that blank page moment? It's real.
It is.
The guide mentions brainstorming, idea mapping. What's the trick to making those actually work, not just feel like another task?
Quantity over quality, seriously. At the very start, just get it all out. Don't judge, don't edit, just dump. Think about Jorge, the example student in the guide, healthcare administration.
Right.
His big area was health in the media. Pretty broad, yeah. But he didn't stop there. He brainstormed specifics within that actually grabbed him. Diet fads, nutrition info, obesity coverage. That personal connection, that's gold.
So even if your instructor gives you a list, you can find your own angle within it.
That's great. Make it yours.
And a little tip here for anyone listening who's in a specialized course. Just flip through your notes for that class. Seriously. Ideas you jotted down, questions maybe the prof raised that weren't fully answered.
Yeah.
Could be sitting right there.
Good point. Use what you've already got.
Okay, but here's the next hurdle. You brainstorm, you've got this list, and often the ideas are just massive, way too big for the assignment.
Yep, been there.
I think I tried to write about the future of the internet once. Disaster.
The guide mentions things like sexual education programs or popularized diets. Huge topics.
Exactly. You can't possibly cover them well in a standard paper. It's like trying to summarize a whole library in one paragraph.
Right.
A good paper needs focus, needs depth. Otherwise, you're just, skimming the surface. And that won't cut it. So instead of popularized diets, maybe it's the physical effects of the South Beach diet. See? Specific. Manageable. Allows for actual analysis. Okay, so how do we get from point A, the giant idea, to point B, something focused? The guide has techniques. First one, exploring in writing or free writing. What's the key to making free writing work? Some people find it awkward.
Yeah, the biggest block is trying to be perfect. Free writing isn't about perfect sentences, it's discovery. Set a timer, maybe just 5 minutes per idea, and write. Nonstop. Don't lift the pen. Don't hit backspace. Don't worry if it makes sense.
Just let it flow.
Just let it flow. You'd be amazed what connections pop up, what questions emerge. Like Jorge, right. He free wrote about diet fads and realized, whoa, this is huge. That pushed him to narrow his focus.
Okay, technique 2, Preliminary research. This sounds a bit like dipping your toe in the water.
Exactly. It's exploratory reading. Skim some websites, browse recent news articles, maybe even look at relevant blogs or online forums. Just get a feel for the conversation happening around your potential topics.
See what angles people are taking.
Right. See what jumps out at you as interesting or maybe underdeveloped.
And the third technique, talking about it.
Don't underestimate this one. Talk to classmates, friends, your instructor. Seriously. Bounce ideas around.
Get fresh perspective.
Yeah, someone might ask a question you hadn't even considered or point you towards a specific aspect that really clicks.
So back to Jorge. His free writing and that initial research dip really helped him. He saw the intersection of health and media with his interests, diet, nutrition, obesity. And that led him to zero in on low carbohydrate diets and whether they actually work. Much tighter focus.
And a really important note on that preliminary research.
Yeah.
You're not doing the heavy-duty source evaluation yet, right?
Oh, not yet.
But, use your common sense. If some random blog comment sparks an idea, great. But make a note to definitely check that idea against more reliable sources later. It's exploration, not the final word.
Got it. Okay, so topic is focused.
Yeah.
Now what? The guide says you need to figure out what exactly you want to learn about it. Enter the research question and the working thesis.
Right, the guiding stars for your research.
Yeah. Let's talk research questions first. What makes one strong? What's the common mistake people make here?
The biggest mistake is probably making it too simple. A question you can answer with a quick Google search or a yes/no isn't really a research question.
Okay.
A strong one, it demands more. It forces you to gather different bits of info, analyze them, maybe compare them, and then form your own informed judgment. It can't be too easy, but also not impossibly hard to answer within your scope.
So it needs substance, but focus. The guide mentions skimming sources for questions others have asked, or that 5WH strategy: who, what, when, where, why, how.
Yeah, those can help generate possibilities. Like Jorge's main question about low-carb diets, there wasn't an obvious, simple answer. So he broke it down into smaller, related sub-questions to guide his digging.
Makes sense. Okay, then the working thesis. The guide calls it the initial answer to that main research question.
Keyword there is initial and working. It's your starting point, your hypothesis.
It's got to be debatable too, right? Not just a fact.
Exactly. It's a claim you intend to support, something someone could reasonably disagree with. It's not just the sky is blue. It's more like the current emphasis on standardized testing is actually hindering creativity. See? Arguable.
And it's working because it can change.
Absolutely. Let the research guide you. If you find evidence that contradicts your initial thesis, you don't ignore it. You revise the thesis. That's part of the process. Be flexible. It's a compass, not handcuffs.
I like that. A compass. And a tip for getting started with a thesis. Maybe try finishing sentences like, I believe X because, or my tentative argument is, even if you make it objective later.
Yeah, just to get the core idea down. Jorge's working thesis was basically his first educated guess answering his main question about low-carb diets.
Okay, so all this leads up to the research proposal, which the guide describes as like a one-page summary of everything you've done so far.
Pretty much. It's short, concise.
And its job is basically to, what? Get instructor feedback, formalize the plan?
Both. It shows your instructor you've done the groundwork, you have a clear direction. It includes your main question, those sub-questions, your working thesis.
And crucially, why this topic matters, right?
Yeah.
The value. Plus, your plan for actually finding information.
Exactly. And if you think about it, this is incredibly similar to pitching a project in like a business setting.
Oh, interesting parallel.
Yeah. Both define the scope, explain why it's worth doing, outline the steps, and list the resources you'll need. It's about making a clear, concise case for your project. It's a really transferable skill.
That's a great point. So for Jorge, putting his proposal together meant pulling those pieces, question thesis, but also articulating why understanding low-carb diets mattered for future health pros and sketching out how he'd find reliable sources.
Connecting all the dots.
So, wow. Okay, pulling back a bit. We've gone from that intimidating blank page, that vague idea,
right,
all the way to choosing something specific you care about, narrowing it effectively, crafting a question that drives inquiry, forming a tentative answer, that working thesis, and then packaging it all up in a formal proposal.
It's quite a journey, even before the main writing starts.
It really is. These preliminary steps, they're not just hoops to jump through. They are genuinely the foundation. Topic choice, narrowing, the question, the thesis, the proposal. It all sets you up for success, or struggle if you skip them.
Absolutely. And here's maybe the most interesting thing, connecting this back to what I said earlier. These skills, they're not just for school papers.
Right, you mentioned the professional angle.
Yeah, so this raises a question for you, the listener. Think about it. Defining a project, figuring out its scope, explaining its value, planning how to tackle it, identifying what you need. How often do you face tasks like that?
All the time. Work projects, personal goals, even just trying to understand a complex issue in the news.
Exactly. It applies everywhere. This structured thinking we've unpacked today, it's a life skill for dealing with complexity.
So here's the final thought we want to leave you with. How could applying this kind of deliberate approach, defining, planning, questioning, make the next big, maybe slightly overwhelming thing you face feel more manageable?
Yeah, how can you use this blueprint to turn that feeling of where do I even start into clear, actionable steps? It's about moving from confusion to clarity.
Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Cascade me where brains go to broadcast. Cascade me, knowledge speaks, tuition sleeps.